Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. This is your Manchester United Leicester City preview. It's tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. We're coming into this game on the back of a 3-1 win against Aston Villa. The goals obviously came from Bertrand Traore. He scored for Aston Villa. Victor Lindelof was accountable for that goal because Lindelof gave it to Bertrand Traore and he should have cleared it. But it was a good finish, to be fair, by Bertrand Traore. Our goals obviously came from Bruno Fernandes from the penalty spot. We got the penalty because Paul Pogba got brought down by Douglas Luiz. Our second goal came from Mason Greenwood. It was a very, very good finish, and Wan-Bissaka got the assist. And our third goal came from Edinson Cavani, and it was a very good header, and it was a good cross by Marcus Rashford. Cavani came off the bench. Ollie Watkins, by the way, got sent off for Aston Villa for diving. It was a pretty good performance by Manchester United against Villa. I thought we was very, very good in the second half. We could have had more than 3 goals because we did have some very, very good chances, especially in that first half. We are guaranteed Champions League football for next season. We'll probably finish second this season. We are now unbeaten in our last 25 Premier League away games. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. Leicester, they're sitting 4th in the Premier League. They lost their last game against Newcastle 4-2. Leicester's current manager is Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has been Leicester manager now over 2 years. He's under contract with Leicester until 2025. Good manager is Brendan Rodgers. He's managed quite a few clubs, hasn't he? Before he was at Leicester, he was at Celtic. He endured a few years with them. Obviously, before then, he was at Liverpool. You can say Brendan Rodgers endured one good season with Liverpool. Obviously, before then, he was at Swansea. Did quite well at Swansea. Before, he's managed Reading and Watford. And he once managed the Chelsea youth. But Leicester have actually been, very consistent under Brendan Rodgers. Before Brendan Rodgers, Leicester had Claudio Ranieri. They won the Premier League under Claudio Ranieri. Leicester have got some very, very good players. Obviously, Iheanacho, he's one of their key players. Jamie Vardy, he's obviously a very good player for Leicester. Don't forget Jamie Vardy risen up from non-league football. Leicester have also got Perez. They got him from Newcastle. Brendan Rodgers brought Perez in. They've got Youri Tielemans. He's also done very, very well at Leicester. I think Brendan Rodgers also brought him in. Well, Leicester did have him on loan, but then obviously they got him permanently. They've got Dennis Pryor as well, who I think Brendan Rodgers also brought in. James Justin, they've also got him. Brendan Rodgers also brought him in. He's actually out for the season with injury. Leicester have also got Wilfred Ndidi. He's one of their key players. James Maddison, he's also very, very good. Don't forget Manchester United have been linked with James Maddison before. They've also got Fofana of Leicester. Brendan Rodgers brought him in. I think he's done very, very well at Leicester. I think this has been Fofana's first season at Leicester. It said earlier on this season that we actually made contact with Leicester over a possible move for Fofana. But it says Leicester will demand £80 million. Leicester have also got Under. Brendan Rodgers also brought him in. Timothy Castagne, they've also got him. Rodgers also brought him in. Schmeichel, I think he's a good goalkeeper for Leicester. Mark Albrighton, he's quite good. Leicester have got Wes Morgan, he's actually out with injury. Harvey Barnes, he's very good, but he's out with injury for Leicester. And Johnny Evans, he's out with injury. Don't know if he'll be available for this game. Obviously, if he can play in this game, he'll be reuniting with Manchester United. Don't forget, we did have Johnny Evans for like 7 years. Leicester have lost good players in recent years. Don't forget, they lost Harry Maguire to us in the summer of 2019. We know we paid £80 million for him. They lost N'Golo Kante and Danny Drinkwater, didn't they, to Chelsea. They lost Riyad Mahrez. They also lost Ben Chilwell last year to Chelsea. So there you go. We've obviously played Leicester twice this season. They beat us in the FA Cup quarter-final earlier on this season, 3-1. Fred was absolutely abysmal in that game for us because he gave the ball away countless times and he was definitely accountable for Leicester's first goal. And we drew 2-2 at the King Power Stadium in the league earlier on this season. We did a double over Leicester last season. We're beating them 2-0 on the final day of last season and we're beating them 1-0 at Old Trafford. Harry Maguire, he came off with an ankle injury in the 3-1 win against Aston Villa. Harry Maguire will miss a Premier League match for Manchester United for the first time. Solskjaer fears that Harry Maguire could be out for a few weeks. I think Daniel James has got an injury for us Obviously, Martial, he's still out with an knee injury. It looks very, very likely that Martial is going to be out for the remainder of the season. Solskjaer confirmed that not so long ago, and I think Phil Jones is still out with injury. He's been out of injury though over the year, but Jones doesn't get in our 11 anyway. Solskjaer's expected to rotate heavily for this game against Leicester, because he did mention, that he's going to play a weakened squad. On my next video, I will be giving you my starting 11 prediction for this game. Solskjaer is obviously furious with the Man United fixture pile-up, because obviously we've got so many games in a short period of time. Obviously, after Leicester, it's Liverpool on Thursday. Obviously, the game against Liverpool was rearranged, because we were supposed to play Liverpool on the 2nd of May, but obviously the game got postponed because hundreds of our fans went inside Old Trafford and invaded the pitch. To protest against the Glazers. After Liverpool, it's Fulham. Fulham is next weekend, and then obviously it's Wolves. I presume as well Solskjaer will be doing his press conference today, building up to the game against Leicester. You obviously know the news on the transfers, don't you? There's so many players that Manchester United are looking at. Now, I recently gave you the news, didn't I, on Harry Kane from Tottenham. Harry Kane is ready to ask Tottenham to listen to transfer offers this summer. It recently said the Glazers are planning to sanction a £90 million bid. Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, said not so long ago, Tottenham will only consider offers for Harry Kane starting at £125 million. I'm very, very sceptical that £90 million will be enough to convince Tottenham to offload him. Kane said earlier on this season, though, he will ask to leave Tottenham if they fail to qualify for the Champions League. Quite a few weeks ago, Harry Kane came out and said that he wants to win team trophies. He said that after Tottenham's Carabao Cup final defeat to Man City. Kane has decided that he wants to stay in the Premier League if he decides to leave Tottenham, because earlier on this season it said that PSG were looking to beat us and City to the signing of Harry Kane. Earlier on this season it said that Harry Kane had dealt Tottenham a major blow because he refused to commit his future to Tottenham, and it said he was delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. And David Ornstein spoke about it earlier on this season. He said he spoke to people in football. He said Harry Kane's unhappy at Tottenham, he wants to leave. He said he's committed to Tottenham whilst he's there, but he did mention that he wants to win the biggest trophies, and obviously he hasn't been experiencing this at Tottenham. Harry Kane has been a long-serving player at Tottenham. He's been with them for 17 years. He's been in their senior squad since 2009. He's got a contract with Tottenham until 2024. He's obviously won the Golden Boot, hasn't he, a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Kane is regarded as one of the best strikers in the world. And I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he would assure us goals and he's well proven in the Premier League. Obviously, there's been more narratives coming out regarding Jadon Sancho recently. It said that Manchester United are preparing an £80 million bid for Sancho. It said a few weeks ago that Borussia Dortmund had lowered their asking price for Sancho. They want around £78 million. Borussia Dortmund have already confirmed that they've got a gentleman's agreement with Sancho over a possible transfer. Jadon Sancho's admitted he's unsure where his future lies. Says Jadon Sancho's preference would be to leave Borussia Dortmund and go to a team playing in the Champions League. Fabrizio Romano, he recently said that Jadon Sancho would be 100% happy to join Manchester United this summer, because he did mention that Sancho was keen on move to Man United last summer. A few clubs have been in though for Sancho. Chelsea have recently entered the race for him. Liverpool was in for him, but I think they've now dropped out. We've spoke with Jadon Sancho's representatives over a potential move. Dortmund admitted earlier on this season that they will sell Sancho for the right price, and Dortmund's CEO came out and said that the club will discuss exceptional offers for the winner. Earlier on this season, it said that we was preparing a £50 million bid. Because we believe we could get him for a cut price deal. Before that, it said we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. And it's actually recently said we ended our interest in Sancho because we want Bellingham instead of Sancho, but I don't see us getting Jude Bellingham. Last summer, Sancho was our number one priority target. Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close, because obviously the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. But we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee, so that's what the stumbling block was. Dortmund's valuation was £108 million, and we was reluctant to meet that valuation. Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. And like I've said to you, Fabrizio Romano has spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too was Christian Falk from Bild. This has been Sancho's fourth season at Borussia Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017, and he's under contract with Dortmund until 2023. It recently said we've been looking at Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich as an alternative to Sancho. We've also been looking at Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. Declan Rice, he's been another player on our agenda. Now, Darren Fletcher said not so long ago that Declan Rice asked about Manchester United when he was on international duty with England. And it said he's already asked Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw about life at Old Trafford. There was reports coming out the other month saying that Declan Rice is interested in joining Man United. Earlier on this season, it said that we was exploring a swap deal involving Declan Rice and Jesse Lingard. Because obviously Lingard wants a permanent move away from Man United. I presume that West Ham will get him permanently. West Ham paid a loan fee of $3 million for Lingard, but Lingard's been unbelievable since he went out on loan to West Ham. But Declan Rice, I'd certainly take him at Manchester United. Main explanations is because he's well proven in the Premier League. He's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. He's predominantly a holding midfielder, and Man United are in search for a holding midfielder. They're the reasons why. And he said earlier on this season that Solskjaer agreed with our recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. He's been at West Ham now for like 7 years. He's under contract with them until 2024. Before West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in their youth out for several years, but he actually never got in their first team. It says West Ham earlier on this season were demanding £100 million for Rice. But in the summer transfer window, we're going to focus on the incomings and the outgoings. Solskjaer is aware of how big the summer transfer window is going to be for himself and Manchester United in general. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. In the summer transfer window, I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings, maybe even 5 signings. And I'm expecting us to spend a substantial amount, and I've already identified the areas in the squad where we need to strengthen up. Solskjaer's made it clear that he wants good backing, and you know what? I'm expecting him to get the backing he deserves, because we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football. We've got Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director. And we've got Matt Judge. You know, Matt Judge has been part of the club for a long time. I don't think Solskjaer has been backed enough so far. The players that could leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window is De Gea. Phil Jones, he could also go, and I want Phil Jones to go. Diego Dalot, I think we'll be looking to get rid of him permanently. He's out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. Alex Telles, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him. This has only been Telles' first season at Man United, but he doesn't get given enough opportunities, Telles. You know, when we got Telles last summer, I expected him to be our first choice left back. Obviously hasn't happened. Tuan Zebe could also go because he doesn't get in our 11, does he? He only gets a chance really when we've got no choice. When there's no one else available at centre half. Paul Pogba, you know, do you think he could still leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window? I don't want him to. I want Paul Pogba to stay potentially past the summer. Because Paul Pogba brings creativity to the team. And plus, we've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months. We need to keep him in that advanced role, Pogba, because that's where he's more effective. Don't forget, earlier on this season, Pogba had a thigh injury and he was out for a while. First part of this season, he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him, and this has been his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Now, the last time I read up, it said that Manchester United will offer Paul Pogba a new deal worth £400,000 a week, but it said Pogba was demanding £500,000 a week. Pogba's current contract expires next year because earlier on this season we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. It actually said we'll sell Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window if he doesn't sign a new contract. He says Man United will demand around £80 million. But Solskjaer's obviously said that he wants Paul Pogba to stay. Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Paul Pogba's future lies at Old Trafford, and he hopes he signs a new contract. And our players would be devastated if the club decided to sell him in the summer transfer window. Mini Oriola did say not so long ago that Paul Pogba wants to win trophies at Manchester United or at another top European club. He did mention that Paul Pogba's future is still in doubt, and he also spoke about Eden Hazard and Paul Pogba swap deal. But he's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been in for him. He did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined us. PSG have been in for him, and Barcelona have also been in for him. Nemanja Matic, a good chance we'll offload him because he isn't one of our first choice midfielders. Donny van der Beek, I think we should offload him in the summer transfer window. Not to do with him being a bad player, it's just that he doesn't get enough opportunities at Manchester United, does he? But he said not so long ago that we will reject any offers for Donny van der Beek this summer, so reflecting on that, we are reluctant to let him go. Solskjaer's got big plans for him. Now, it recently said that Jose Mourinho is ready to offer Donny van der Beek an escape from Manchester United. There's 3 United players that could join Jose Mourinho at Roma, and that's De Gea, because there's been reports coming out about him possibly going to Roma, Matic and Donny van der Beek. Juan Mata, I think there's also a good chance that we'll offload him, and a lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial because he's no longer good enough to represent the club. So the players that we do sell in the summer transfer window will generate money, and it will help us with our rebuilding process. Obviously, the news regarding the Glazers. Joe Glazer recently wrote a letter to Manchester United fans. Not so long ago, Avram Glazer refused to apologise over the European Super League. Sky News caught up with him in Florida. Solskjaer did recently say that the Glazers apologised to him. Yeah, Solskjaer did say that the violent incidents went too far, but he says the club need to take notice of the fans. Solskjaer was recently angry with Gary Neville over the Man United protests. Gary Neville's had quite a few things to say on it. He says the Glazers are to blame for the protests. And he said it was a peaceful protest, and obviously when the European Super League come into the equation, Gary Neville said, the Glazer family need to leave the country in that, and he called them scavengers, the Glazer family. By the way, Man United fans are planning a second protest against the Glazers. Will the Old Trafford protests force the Glazers out of the club? That is the question. It recently said the Glazers could be forced to sell Manchester United, but for only £4 billion. It said before that the Glazers have got no intentions of selling Manchester United, so reflect on that, they're here to stay. A few weeks ago, our fans protested against the Glazers at Carrington. Like I mentioned, some of our fans blocked entrances into the Carrington training ground. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season, though, that the Glazers will not sell Man United. And before that, he told protesters that Joe Glazer loves the club. Joe Glazer released a statement quite a few weeks ago apologising to club fans of the European Super League. But we get the Glazers out, it will be the right decision by Man United. Because the Glazers have put us in so much debt. And in general, I hate the way the football club has been run now for a long time. The Glazers bought Manchester United for £500 million back in 2005. So the Glazers have been with us now for 16 years. Woodward, obviously, we know he'll be standing down at the end of the year, because quite a few weeks ago it got announced that Woodward resigned as Manchester United vice chairman. I presume all United fans were happy with the news regarding Woodward, because we've been very critical of him for a long time. Woodward has had a 16-year association with Manchester United. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.